We are logging SAP systems, right? Multiple users, we are logging to the SAP systems here. But everybody we are using if we are using the common user ID and password, then what is the benefit here? What is the benefit in the sense like here? So what is the benefit in the sense like here? So, what is the difference between the manager role? So, manager, team member, subordinates. What is the difference here? Right? Everybody we are using the common user ID and password here. So normally we should not use the common user ID and password in the real cases here. If we have the individual user IDs, if we have the individual user IDs, so then we can get if we have the individual user IDs, then we can get the respective screens, respective authorizations and everything here. So that is the reason in SAP, we have the user management policy here. SAP side, we have the user management policy. So that every person who are connecting to the SAP, we have to create the individual user IDs. Individual user IDs, we have to create it. So that depends upon their role and depends upon their permission, they can access the respective screen in the system here. So here for the user management, from security perspective, here we have to use the SU01, SU10. Then these are the Pfcg for the role creations. So these are the transaction codes we have to use it here. SU01, right? Single user creation here. Single user creation we have to use it here. SU10 is for the mass user creation here. So PFCG is for the role creation here. Role creation. So roles creation and assignment we have to do it using the SU01, SU10 PFCG transaction code here. And also SU53 to check the authorization issues here. To check the authorization issues and etc, we can check it out using this transaction code here, right? So and some other authorization objects and those things also available. So let's discuss those things also here. So to create the user, what we required is here. To create the user, what we required is here, we need to go to the we need to go to the SU01 transaction code here. SU01 is the transaction code here. Go to the SU01 transaction code. We can create the one user here. So in the user field, just enter the example anything one. Just click on the create. Why? Because you are creating the user here. So otherwise, we can just click on the demo user here. I think this is also one. So demo one user here, right? So I created the one user here. So here company name it is asking just to provide the. So what is the user title, Mr. And so what is the country here? So India. So what is the time zone here? It's a India time zone for the user, right? So if you have a post code, mobile, email ID, anything, so phone number, anything, you have to map it here. Just click on the create symbol. Let's click on the create symbol here. Then here we can provide the first name of the user here. What is the first name? User creation, individual users creation here. Then last name of the user, first name of the users, title. So all those things we have to provide it here. Then here the next one is the logon tab here. In the logon tab here, so here the user type here. User type here. There are the five types of users types here. Five types of users here. This is the very important while creating the user here. Types of users here. Types of users in SAP system here. So one is the dialog user. Dialog user here. The second one is the system user. The third one is the service user. The fourth one is the communication user here. The fifth one is the reference user here. Reference user here. There are the 5 types of users in SAP here, in SAP system here, right? So here, so here you can see here dialog user here. In the dialog user, so you see here there is a SU01 transaction code. Here we will create the users that we know, right? When creating the users, you see there is a dialog user. So what is mean by dialog user? Dialog user is normally is used for interactive system access from the GUI. I mean to say human users, humans are the dialog users here who will log in from the SCP GUI or browser. So those are the dialog users, right? We means humans, right? We are logging from the SAP GUI. So this we are called the dialog users here, right? Dialog users, right? That's why we selected the dialog user. Then what about the system user? Normally, it is used for the background jobs, background processing, communication within the system. We will use the system user here. So dialog user in the sense like we humans who will log into the SAP system with the user ID and password. System user, they don't have any passwords. So there is no reset option, expiry options here. So then normally it is used for the background jobs. In the background jobs creation, that time we will use the system user, right? So communication user here. Communication user is used for the external RFC calls. External RFC calls. If any external system which is calling RFC connection, that time we will use the communication user. Communication between the systems here, right? Service user is for, so for anonymous service type, service level, dialog users. So sorry, service level we will use the service user here. The reference user is for the generally the person, the reference user is allowed to log in. Some additional authorizations perspective, reference user we will select it here. Reference user here. There is no password. Password is deactivated. Reference user. You can use the reference user. You will get the additional authorization. Then you will use it here. Generally, daily cases we will use the either dialog user only. We will create the users, or system user. We will create the users for the system users in the background jobs administration perspective. While creating the job will run on one user here. So if you use the dialog user, if the dialog user is locked, then all the jobs will fail. So that's why we need to use the one batch users. We have to use it. We have to assign each and every job one batch user here, right? So then dialog users, first we as a dialog users, then you need to set the passwords here. You need to set the passwords here, right? So then if any SNC parameters, it should be uppercase characters, two uppercase characters. Who set these parameters and everything, right? Any SNC, any default parameters we want to display, how the your date format, time format, how it will be. So all those things here, your parameter section, any parameters, your role section here, roles. So what is this user is used for? What is this user is used for here? So then is this user for what is the type of user which you are using here, right? So maybe if you are creating the user for background jobs, junior, subordinates, administrators. So what type of user you are creating here? What type of user we are creating in the systems here? So that type of users we will create it here. That type of users will be in the here, right? That type
Sir,
of,
recording start.
yeah, recording started.
Okay, okay. I'm asking, sir, just to confirm. Okay.
You can see the recording symbol right here.
Yes, yes. Sorry, sir.
Okay, yeah. So here the role will define the roles will define the what you are, means what is the roles, what are the activities you are going to perform in SAP system here. So you are not the responsible to perform all the functional, basis, security, developer related activities, right? You are only dedicated to perform only some activities. So the role will tell you what activities you are going to do here. So that roles will tell you here. So that's why while role creation, we have to carefully check here. So check whether we in the SAP side, we have already roles are available here. In the SAP side, all the roles are available with SAP star. So we can also create the multiple roles also we can create it here. So for the manager role, assessment, account manager, engineering, administrator, employee. So each and every roles, HR administrators in India. So multiple roles are there here. Multiple roles are there here. So suppose the role which you created is the HR administrator or HR manager, whatever the role you created, just assign the role here. So these are the SAP standard role here. So I am assigning the standard role to the one person here. Then I will also tell you how to create the custom roles also here. Then click on the save button here. Then the user got created. The user got created here. So let's go to the system. Then log into the, so now you can ask user to log in with the user means demo one user, the password which you set, right? You can ask user to provide it. Then it will ask the password, initial password will be explained. Then you have to set the our own passwords. You have to set it out here. Right? So one password I set here. Now I am able to log in here. So I assigned only HR for this user is only for HR administrator. This user is only for the HR administrator role. He only perform the HR manager, HR administrative services only thing he can access here. So let's see as part of his user, demo one user, see here demo one user, what activities he is going to perform here. ST22, no access. Why? Because he is not the basis person. SM21, no access here. Then what access here? SM50, so no access here. SM51, so no access here. What is his responsibility here? What is his responsibility here? So PA30. PA30 is the one of the functional HR related transaction code here. You can only open the some HR, otherwise you can open it from here. What and all the things you can open it from the SAP side here. So what are the things you can open it from here, right? So maybe that depends upon the role. Let me open here HR master data. So maintain, display, personal, fast track. So nothing is visible here. No transactions are visible here as per this role here. See here, he is unable to access anything in the SAP system. He is unable to access anything in the SAP system. Why? Why? Because we are restricted. We are restricted here. We are used only one role. Not sure what is this role here. SAP standard role. We used this one here. Because of that reason, he is accessing only these things here. So if you go to the SU53 transaction code here, even SU53 also you don't have the access. You don't have the access to any one of the transaction code in SAP system. Any one of the transaction code. Just he got the access. So here the authorization, you have the, even though you have the access, but you need the authorization. You need the authorization to access the access the tabs, access the transaction codes in SAP system here. So here authorization we have to assign to the role. Role we have to assign to the authorization here. So in this case, role creation we have to do it from the Pfcg transaction code here. Normally, this user management will be handled by the security person in the organization. Security person in the organization here. So here we have to create the role. Suppose like Z underscore basis. So suppose like you are going to create the one basis user. That is called the Z basis monitoring. Just click on the role here. Don't worry. Why? Because it's not our responsibility. Just want to show you how the user management will work here, right? So here just click on the create button. Then for the monitoring perspective, what are the transaction codes you are going to use it here, right? ST22, then SM21, then what is the SM50 already given, then SM66, okay, then SU53 transaction code, then what other things here? What other things you are going to, we have to give to the users here. So then SM58, then SM, so SM36, 37. Okay, let's give this assign the transaction codes here. Only this transaction code I have assigned to the user here, right? So then go to the authorization here, right? You assigned here, save it here, go to the authorization. So then generate the profile. Normally security people will do this kind of work here. Okay, so just click on the save, okay, open. Real authorization, role. So all those things we have to assign to the users here. All those things we have to assign to the users here. System authorizations, right? So then see here background jobs perspective, we have to assign this thing to the users here. Then development perspective, we have to assign the development packages to the users. So this is the authorization concept. So quite difficult to understand all those things here. Let me assign full authorization here. Job operations, full authorization. Just I'm giving the full authorizations here. Full authorization here. Generate, generate, save, go back, generate. You have to generate the codes here. Then save it here. Then assign to the user. From here, you can directly assign to the user or go to the SU01. You can also assign the role to the user here. So role comparison. Just want to see whether we can able to access the few transaction codes. All should be green here. Now go to the user. This is the user here. Now go to ST22. Let me, yeah, now you are able to access the ST22 here with the, what is the user here, demo1. So how you got the access here? SM21. Right? You got the access here. Then if I open PA30, so you are not authorized. So if I open, so STMS, then you are not authorized. If I go to SM50, so you are able to access. Then how? Why? You are able to open the some transaction codes, you are unable to open the some more transaction codes here. What's the reason here? So the reason is here, I have assigned this role. I created the one of the monitoring role. Only few transaction codes I have assigned to the user here. So user is able to only perform the just that related activities, can only perform the that activities here in the system. Not the all the activities here. Not the all the activities he is going to perform. So only few things he is able to perform in the systems here. Right? Only few things he is able to perform in the systems here based upon the role which you created here. So per person, suppose he is the user. For this user, what he has to do, what tabs he has to access, and everything will be defined by the role. The role. So this role we have to create in the Pfcg. This role we have to create, we have to assign to the user here. We have to assign to the users here, business users here. In SU01, we have to assign to the users here. So for this role, there is a authorizations, multiple authorizations here. So here for this role, we have to provide the authorizations here, multiple authorizations, read authorizations, write authorizations and everything. So this authorizations we will assign to the role here. This authorizations we will assign to the users here. Authorizations here. This is called the authorizations. So authorizations will tell us, restrict what you want to access. Even though you assign the role, but here authorizations will tell what you want to access it in exactly. So this authorizations will tell you here. If you go to the here authorizations tab, change the authorization native, whether you want to assign the full authorizations or normal authorizations. So those things will tell to the users here, right? Other than that, you assign any this transaction codes. If you assign any transaction codes, you may face the issues here. Issues means you are not the authorized person. You can see the error logs in the SU53. In SU53, you can see the logs here. What is the authorization object you want to assign to the users here, right? So what is the authorization object? Full list of authorization errors you may face it here, right? So if you want to access the STMS, you will face the errors here. STMS, suppose if you go to the STMS transaction code, you are facing the error here. Why? Because each transaction, there is a respective authorization object here. There is a respective authorization object that is called the S underscore T code. So this is the authorization object we have to assign to the users here. Then only, so this authorization object we have to maintain here. Suppose like if you go to the here authorization, go to the display, change authorization, just click on the manually, add the authorization of S underscore T code here. Just as right, T code here. In this T code, just assign the what is the transaction code you want to access to the users here, right? So full authorization, I want to access star. Star means all transactions. No. Hi, I'm audible, right? I'm back now. Okay. So here, so audible. So here you see this transaction codes. Transaction codes we are assigning to the particular role here. So this authorization we are assigning to the role here. So whatever this role having, same you will get the access here. Same you will get the access here. So basically these authorizations will restrict the usage of each and every transaction code here. Each and every transaction code here. So this authorization here, right? So now let's see, I have assigned the STMS. If you go and ask the STMS, so still you are unable to access, right? Just go to the log off and log in. Right? STMS. So here you will only see what are the transactions you have the access here. Only those things you are able to access here. If we go to the SU53, you will see the clear picture here. What is the authorization object you still required? S underscore trans PRT, S underscore T code, these are the authorization objects here. So basically, authorization objects we have to assign to the role. This role we have to assign to the multiple users here. So that is the thing here. So if we want one user want to access anything in the system, so then the role will tell you what are the things you need to access here. What are the things you need to access here? Those things will be available here. So the role will tell you what activities, what transaction codes you need to perform, each and everything it will provide you. So here, sir, how to find out the authorization objects here? Because I am new to security, I don't know anything in the SAP. So authorization objects means here, if we go to the SU 2022, SU22, here we can find out the authorization objects, the transaction code related. Suppose if you go to the STMS transaction, each transaction there is a one authorization object will be displayed here. Suppose if you see this transaction, the transaction code related to the authorization object, you can see how many authorization objects we have here, right? So how many authorization objects we have for the one transaction code here. So these authorization objects you need to assign to the role here. So SU22 and SU24, we can find out the authorization objects. For the transaction code based authorization objects, we can find out here. So if you assign this one, suppose like if you need access to the SM36, then so just you can find out the what is the object here, what is the authorization object here, right? What is the authorization object here? That will be detailedly it will show you here what is the authorization object for the background jobs. So this will clearly will be displayed here. What is the authorization objects? Clearly it will display here background jobs. So using the standard background jobs, these are the things you required here, right? So these are the authorization object you have to assign to the users. If you want to get the full-fledged access to the SM36, you need all these authorization objects should be assigned here, right? This is the mainly one authorization object here. Go to the here, go to the so go to the Pfcg. Then so this is the role. Just go to the here change button, go to the authorization, then here change the authorization data. So just click on the manually add the authorization object here. Then you will see the background jobs related, background job administration related authorizations, username, everything here. It's already assigned. So what you need to do manually you assign it, right? Just so full authorizations. You need access to the display, modify, delete jobs or what? Full authorizations means you will get the full access here. You will get the full access to the all the transaction codes here. Just generate it here, save it, generate, right? Saved. The profiles are saved here. So like this, what are the background job username you need to use it here. Full authorizations I need. Then we can just use assign it, go back, generate it, generate it, profiles created, right? You have assigned here. Now this user can perform the background job related things, all the things he can perform it. So what you need to do, you need to just to log off and log in back. You can access the all those things here. So this is the way we can create the, but this one you no need to worry. Why? Because it's a purely security. It's a purely security people, they will perform this activity here in the organization. We are the basis team here. We don't require so all those things here. We don't require all those things here. See here, one more transaction code is added, that is called the SM37, SM36 here, right? So those are the things we can do it here. 36, right? So here, so our responsibility is, suppose in case if we want to create the role things, we cannot work it out. But only thing is here, if we want to create the users, we can create it, but role we required. When you go to the role here, the role we required here. So we can just create the role. Means our security team, they will create the role, they will assign to me, or we can assign to. Suppose sometimes the user will be locked, then we can unlock the user. We can lock the user here. We want to reset the password. Just we can reset the password of the user. We want to copy the user from another user. Then we can copy it. We want to delete the user. We can delete it here. we want to create the user, we can create the user here. So this is a one user creation, right? Suppose if we go to the SU10 mass user creation, then here we can create the mass users. Mass users means, so number of users we can create it here. Suppose example, so demo 2, demo 3 user, demo 4 user, then demo 5 user, so then demo 6 user, then so demo 7 user. Suppose like these users I want to create it here, right? At a time I can use this concept here, SU10 mass user creation here, right? Then I can just create it here. Then automatically the passwords users all will be created. There is a password also auto generated. Normally sometimes we may get the auto password generate option. So these are the auto passwords are generated automatically here. This is the mass user creation. Mass user creation here. So we can log in with this password also here. You can see the password length here. Suppose this is the user, right? So then you see demo 2 user. Now log in with the demo 2 the password, and you see it will ask the new password. Simple. Right? See, the password got generated by the system automatically here. So we can log in. So if we want to lock all the users here, right? We can also lock all the users here. We can also just lock all users are locked here, right? So if we want to delete, we can delete the users. So we want to lock our global level, unlock the all the users, we can unlock it here. So that's the possible here, right? And also one more transaction code. This is for the SU10 mass user creation, Pfcg role creation, SU53 to check the authorization issues and everything, errors and everything here. So there is a one more transaction code, SU22 and SU24 is for the authorization objects, to check the authorization object based upon the transaction code here. So there is a EWZ5. This is for the global mass user locking here, just locking EWZ5. We can use this transaction code here. We can ask, we can log the multiple users here. We can log the multiple users. We can log it here. Just to choose the users, right? We want to choose the user. Suppose we want to lock all, just select it, right? We can lock it here. We can save it here. So all users got locked by administrator. Suppose if I see demo user SU01D, demo 1 user, so it will not the demo 2, demo 3. Let's see here. I think I have not locked, I think. Selected, just selected, not locked. EWZ5. So see here, here. So then we can unlock it also here. Unlock it also, we can lock it, unlock it. So this will not be useful more, but SU10, SU01, nano, so this we can do that one. There is a custom programs also, we can use it here. Apart from that, there is a one more useful transaction code. So you should remember the user creation, lock, unlock, password reset, roles assignment in the SU01, that and all we know, right? So types of users you should remember. Pfcg means you don't require to remember. Why? Because it's a purely security team. And also check the authorization errors and everything. You can just check the SU53 here. One more thing is the SUIM transaction code here. It's a very important transaction code to get the some list, users list here. SUIM transaction code here. Suppose you want to check the all the users based upon the address data. So all users list will be displayed here. See here, all the users list will be displayed. What is the company, their company name, everything is displayed here, right? We got it, all the users here. Suppose here you want to check the unsuccessful logons here. Who are the users are unsuccessful logons here? when was the last logon date and everything here. Unsuccessful logon. Ravi user. They have when was the last date of logon? 24th. The 8th month I logged into the here. Nothing after that. Right? This is the unsuccessful logons here. Then some information here. Who are the logon date with the password? Who are logged into the system with all the passwords? So when was the last logon? All the who are the logged into the systems, all the information will be displayed here. When was the last logon, successful logon? So CCC, CM video, it's not in use, not in use means they are not in useful here. These all are users are, you can see, develop batch yesterday also logged in, Viraj, Tulasi Ram, 39. So then there are the multiple users, Manish. So they are unable to, they are not, the Nitin, and yesterday also Nitin logged in to the system. So all the information, failure logons, this user is logged here, right? So you can see all the information we can pull from the here with the critical authorizations, who are having the critical authorizations here, authorizations, transactions, who are having the access to that particular transaction code here. Suppose which user, so you have the access to the what transaction codes here. Suppose like demo one. Let's see here, demo one. Demo one user, what are the transactions he can access here? You can only access the see here SM36, 21, 50, 58. So these are the transactions you can access it here. Suppose if I take the basis user, what are the transaction codes you can access it here? And data display. So SUM is kind of some information. SCP, so some information about the users or system details. So will be useful here. So normally security, once again, it's not our scope, but you should know about something like user creations, roles, authorizations, those transaction codes you should know. That's why we are discussing about the all those things here. So still we have many more securities are there here. Suppose like HR security, BPC security, and so organization level security. So for blocks wise, company codes wise security, many things are there. So but we are not going to why, because we are not the security, we are the basis. So some basics are enough for us to so work on the systems. Okay, those are about the security related here. Any questions, anyone here?